Thanks a lot for being a member of our community at Prison Professors. My name is Michael Santos. We do hope that you will subscribe to our channel and support these efforts we're making to reach out, to teach and inspire people who are in jails and prisons across America. There are more than 100,000 people going through our courses, and every week we get scores of letters. I gotta be honest, I don't have the time to respond to all of them, and that's one of the reasons I hope to communicate at scale through these videos that we produce. And today, I want to speak about this concept of mitigation strategies and what can somebody do to begin positioning themselves for the best possible outcome. That is the reason that I produce a lot of this content, is to try and help people understand nobody should work harder for your liberty than you. And if you're inside of a jail or a prison, you may have missed opportunities to prepare before the pre-sentence investigation report. You may have missed opportunities to prepare before the sentencing hearing, but you're still in a situation right now where, if you're watching this program, you have an opportunity to begin sowing seeds, to think about how can you resolve bigger social problems. And to the extent that you can do that, you've got an opportunity to influence the way other people are going to see you and perceive of you. In today's article that we published on our website at Prison Professors, I spoke a lot about some of the ways that I am doing that right now. But I'm at a different stage of the journey than most of the people who are watching our channel. Most of the people that are watching our channel really are in a situation where they've either faced a government investigation and they anticipate that a sentence could follow. They may be sitting inside of a jail or a prison and watching these courses on these tablet-like devices. Or they may already be serving very long sentences. The problem that many of those people face is they don't have guidance on, well, what does a good mitigation strategy look like? They think about this problem from a perspective of saying, I hate where I am, I don't like the situation that I'm in, but I don't really know how to resolve the problem. But resolving problems, any kind of problem, whether it's a problem in business, whether it's a problem in fitness, whether it's a problem at any area of our life, really we should be adhering to this principled path. And that principled path requires us to define the best possible outcome, a solution, define success. 2, document a strategy that you could use that will take you from where you are today to where you want to go. 3, create your tools, tactics, and resources that you can use to advance possibilities for success. 4, make sure that you're executing on your plan every single day. And 5, make sure that you're holding yourself accountable so that when you become more successful, when you get to the other side of the journey, people aren't saying that you were just lucky or some force of events happened that you didn't have anything to do with. We always have to create our own luck, our own opportunities. We have to create what steps we can take to advance success as we define success. Now, my entire journey, as anybody can see, is really built upon the lessons that leaders taught me while I was going through 26 years in prison. When I walked into the system, people saw me differently. I still remember what the prosecutor used to say. He would say that if Michael Santos spends every day of his life in an all-consuming effort working to repay society, and if he lives to be 300 years old, our society will still be at a significant net loss. Fortunately, I was inspired by people other than the prosecutor, and I understood to define success, I had to visualize, how do I want to emerge from here? Then I had to create those tools, tactics, and resources. When I was locked inside of a jail or a prison, I used to think, what I want is to be able to get out of here, put on a suit and tie, walk into any room, and nobody is going to know that I served a day in prison unless I told them. And now I send that same message to people who are locked up, but many of these messages are coming from people who haven't been sentenced yet. So what does a mitigation strategy look like for them? Well, they've got to be thinking, in my eyes, they've got to be thinking about what are they going to say to a judge. If a person begins by thinking about all the stakeholders he or she is going to meet in the future, that person can start really crafting a strategy. First of all, think about the probation officer, because some of the people watching our program are at a very early stage. The person who is thinking about a probation officer say, what will differentiate him from everybody else that goes before a probation officer? Same situation with somebody who's facing a sentencing hearing. What will differentiate the person going before sentencing as every other individual that's going before sentencing? Then think about the stakeholders that are going to be later in the journey. People like a case manager, people that will have discretion on when liberty will come. What about the other side when a person is transitioning from prison to a halfway house or home confinement? How do you advance that possibility for early release? And how do you put yourself on a pathway for higher levels of liberty so you're not being pigeonholed into doing what the probation officer or case manager wants you to do, but rather you're leading a life of fulfillment and meaning and relevance as you define it. We all define success differently. If you can create a really well-documented plan and strategy, my belief is that you will advance your prospects for success. But it's not only getting through sentencing or getting through prison or coming back to society that's successful. We've got to think about the totality of our life and how do we respond, or how do we build a record that shows how we responded to a difficult situation. If we think in those terms, that is when we can really begin building a better life. We want you to build the best possible life for your future, not necessarily what the system says you can achieve, but what you can achieve. That's certainly what I never ask anybody. You'll see that through all of our work, whether you're going through our workbooks or our courses, you will see I never ask anybody to do anything that I am not doing. This was the strategy that carried me through 26 years in federal prisons of every security level. It's the strategy that I'm using right now. Right now, I'm filming this in May of 2021, and I'm thinking about, well, what are some of the bigger problems that I want to resolve? How do I want to be remembered as somebody that responded to challenges that came as a result of the bad decisions I made when I was 20? Well, I look at the bigger social problem, and some of those bigger social problems include formerly incarcerated people have a really hard time getting into the job market. I've been corresponding right now with a woman who has a law degree from Columbia University and who just got released from prison, and she's facing all kinds of hurdles in really reestablishing herself. If a person with those credentials is facing hurdles and challenges, imagine what is happening to the masses. I spoke with one fellow who used to run a hedge fund. He had more than $60 million under management and made a decision that resulted in him going to prison. Now he's home. Even a guy like that is having a really hard time getting into the job market. He said he sent out more than 180 resumes, not a single callback. Okay? Now, if those kinds of people have challenges, what about people without those credentials? What about people who served many years or multiple decades in prison? That's a big social problem. So I'm creating a solution to try and resolve that social problem, and that requires us to put together a temporary employment agency. With a temporary employment agency, we can help people build a bridge and get that documented resume showing their capacity to contribute to an organization. We solve a problem for employers because employers may be resistant to hiring a formerly incarcerated person because they feel that formerly incarcerated people may be more inclined to file wrongful termination suits or file claims that result in the raising of workers' compensation insurance. So we want to help those employers resolve that problem and simultaneously help formerly incarcerated people transition to the job market. The solution? Well, we created a nonprofit organization. We can raise money for that nonprofit organization. We could use that money to hire people. We can use that money to continue producing more content that we use to teach people. We can use that money to launch marketing campaigns to connect and build a bigger ecosystem or infrastructure. That's one solution to a big problem. If we can solve that problem, if you can be a part of solving that problem, you have an effective mitigation strategy. A second big collateral consequence that follows for people who have gone through the criminal justice system concerns finance. I'm not only talking about institutions that may not want to give you credit because of your background. I'm talking about people who have great financial histories that they get letters from their banks or financial institutions telling them, we're going to fire you and you've got so many days to get your money out of our account. These are collateral consequences that hurt millions of people. And so to try and resolve that problem requires us to do a lot of thinking and a lot of building. And so those are some of the big areas that we are working on right now. And I would encourage you, think about not only your own challenges. Think about how you can contribute something to solve a bigger societal problem. If you can do that, that is how you will differentiate yourself from other people that are going for requesting relief, whether it's from a probation officer, whether it's from a federal judge or a sentencing judge, whether it's from a parole board or a case manager, or anybody that has some type of discretion over the level of liberty available to you. The more thought you give to that, the more you can contemplate how you can become a part of a solution. Now, to the extent that a person has done it well, now the person has the ability to really self-advocate and demonstrate, this is what I have done. This is why I am asking you for mercy or leniency or something along those lines. We've got to be thinking about those problems early, because to the extent that we think about those problems early, we put ourselves in a position to influence how others perceive us. That's what's important. Don't think about this strategy that I use from Zig Ziglar, who says, if you can help other people get what they want, you can get everything that you want. So we've got to be thinking about solving these bigger problems. And that's really been the focus of my mitigation strategy. And it's ongoing. You can't go through 26 years in prison and not have this need, say, I want to help people who I know are in prison that are being influenced by the way that prisons operate. I want to help them. And in order for me to help them, I've got to be thinking. I've got to use all of my critical thinking skills, all of my writing skills, all of my verbal communication skills, and I've got to have an insane work ethic. And if you do that, I'm confident that you can start influencing how the world sees you. And if you can do that, you put yourself in a position for other people to see you differently, for people to want to give you some type of consideration that they may not give to everybody else. The one thing that every single person in jail or prison has in common is they all want a higher level of liberty. They all want to get out sooner. They all want to recalibrate their lives. But not everybody is going to work as hard. You've got to be the hardest working person you can be to demonstrate your true commitment to a mitigation strategy. And that mitigation strategy has to be much bigger than what the person thinks of initially. I just want to get a shorter sentence. Take it for somebody who's gone through 9,500 days in prison and has been home for 8 years and built businesses and recalibrated. There's a lot more to it. We all have to learn how to create a disciplined pathway, and we have to do it on our own. Nobody can do it for us. And I never ask anybody to do anything I didn't do, but I can't help everybody. That's why I have to say, hey, I'm sorry. I appreciate all of these letters. This is a result of the work that I am doing to try and be the change that I want to see in the world. But you got to forgive me if you're watching this that I'm not responding to every one of them. I just don't have the bandwidth. So I wish you success. I wish you prosperity. I wish you a successful journey. I hope that you're using our workbooks that we create. I definitely want to thank all of the people that volunteer and share their stories with us that allow us to build lessons. We've got an exciting one that we're building right now that I can't wait to start distributing, but it takes me a long time to build these products and services. But I'm going to keep doing it, and I hope that you can keep working to be the change that you want to see in the world. That's the way to build an effective mitigation strategy. We really hope that if you're watching this on YouTube, you subscribe to our Prison Professors YouTube channel and click that little bell, because I'd say, which way am I pointing? I guess it's up there in the banner. Click the bell as well, because that bell will allow YouTube to notify you when we publish a new video. If you're inside of a jail or a prison, or you have a family member that's inside of a jail or prison, make sure that you get those people the books and the resources that they need. We're a relatively small organization of formerly incarcerated people that are striving to be the change that we want to see in the world, and we hope that you will not only get access to our videos, but also to our books, our workbooks, our courses, because we definitely want to help you. I'm Michael Santos. I never ask anybody to do anything that I didn't do, and right now I just want to thank you again for being a part of the Prison Professors community.